Welcome everyone. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to secure your site using what we call SSL TLS certificate from AWS ACM. Okay, so what I have already provisioned so far is two EC2 instance, a load balancer, and a target group. Target group are basically a group of instances. So those two instances have been grouped into a target. The load balancer will be serving those targets, will collect the traffic and then point it to a healthy, more available target. Okay, so that's what we have. So let me show you the load balancer. Okay, that's what we got. So let me actually open it up. Okay, this is the load balancer, and we have a listener. Okay, so the load balancer is listening on port 80, which is HTTP hypertext transfer protocol. This is not secure. Okay, with the S at the end, we'll make it secure, and this is what we are here to achieve, right? But for now, the load balancer is listening on port 80, accept traffic on port 80, and then point it or forward it to a target group. The target group contains targets, which are the EC2 instances that we have, the two of them. Okay, we don't have any stickiness to this target, that is fine. And we have a rules. The rule is the traffic being accepted and pointing to what we call this target group. Okay, so that's what we have for the load balancer. And again, let me quickly show you the target group is nothing less than the two EC2 instance that are running. Okay, so this two EC2 instance. Let's have a look quickly here. What's here? Okay, that's the region and then the total target. Actually, let me show you the target here. The two of them, the two instances running. Okay, happy so far. Right. So if we go to the load balancer quickly, what I'm here to do is to pick what we call the DNS name of this load balancer, this one. Okay, just to show you how the site is not secure because it's not using the SSL TLS certificate, and this is the reason why we're here. So let me copy this and then just open a new tab here, put it here. Okay, enter. Okay, so this is what we have. This is one of the EC2 instance, right? Okay, as you can see with the IP, I'm going to refresh it. The load balancer is going to point to a different one, which is more available, more healthy at that point in time when the request was sent. So let's refresh. Then you see that was change, change, change. So the load balancer we know is doing the job, right? But what we are interested here is saying not secure. If I send you this, okay, straight away you might be thinking, not secure. Should I click it? Should I, nowadays you need to be careful on the type of site you go on. Okay, so this not being secure is already, deterring your customers. And again, this name is not more human friendly. You want something like www.example.com, www.delane.com, something like that, right? So we need to fix these two issues. The first one we do is to make this name more human friendly. Okay, so we can easily pronounce them instead of remembering all these numbers. Once we are done, we will secure this site. Are we happy so far? Right. So let's do what we call the friendly name. How do we do this? We're going to use AWS resource called Route 53. This is a DNS record. So you can use it to create a domain, and in that you can have what we call hosted zones. The hosted zones can host your records, okay, being it A record, C records, all types of records. Okay. So we are going to leverage on that. So this is a load balancer. So we will leverage on what we call alias or CNAME record, right? So let's go back to Route 53. Let me open this, or you can search for it here. Route 53, yeah? So I've got mine open here. Actually, let's show you Route 53. Okay, open a new tab. Let me open that. Okay, happy days. Moving on. So this is the hosted zone. I can go into the one I have provisioned. If you're not too sure how to do it, I'll do a separate video, but I have a video where it involves, you know, load balancer, target group, I think, what was it? Launch template. Actually, the instance was launched from launch template, and then we added what we call, or how you can create your own DNS record. Okay. So for now, all we are interested in is to go into this. Okay. To the hosted zone. I have a public hosted zone. I'm going to go into that. Okay. I'm going to add a record. So this record, let's select create record. I'm going to give it a name. Say, let's say this is um right, Kiwi. Okay. So Kiwi. Yeah, okay. So we've got kiwi.delink.com. You can add any subdomain that you want. Okay. Again, like I said, we are interested in creating alias, but we have other type of record. With the load balancer, okay, you can either create a CNAME record for it or alias. But what is the alias? The alias is another record or another domain pointing to another domain. Okay. The DNS or the load balancer, this is a domain. Okay. That one is a domain. We want to point it to what we call a different domain. Okay. Let's come back here. So we're going to put the load balancer domain here. Okay, let me grab it. Go back here and grab it. Okay. Come back here. This is the load balancer domain. Let me copy it here, and then in the record we are doing alias record, remember? So I'm going to put that here. So this record, name record kiwi.link.com, okay, will be pointing to the load balancer record. That is alias. Yeah. Another record pointing to a different record. Okay, that's alias. Yeah. Which is part of what we call the A record. Okay. Again, you can do CNAME for it, like I said. So happy days. Let's leave the time to live the way it is, 300 seconds, and then we will create a record. Right. All right. Let's refresh that. Why is that? Oh, it's just disappeared. Let's do it again. Let's give it a different name. Let's say dev.delink.com, and then let's paste the alias here. Okay. And then we go create. That's better. The value IP address, delink.com. Okay, let's have a look. Alias. Okay, right. We need to select the alias. Sorry, that wasn't selected. That's why it's giving us that error. So let's pick. We are looking for load balancer alias. Okay, ignore that. We cancel that. Which region? Okay, is this load balancer? Let's pick the region. Okay, this region load balancer was created in the region of here. Okay, I will land. Let's search if it is there. That's the load balancer. Okay, you copy it or you select that. Simple routing. Okay, we are not doing any in-depth routing, only other routing. Okay, simple is fine. Okay, again, remember to just toggle this the alias because that's what you want. Okay, that's why it's causing the issue, right? So we will create the record. Okay, the record is being created. So if you look here, it's at the bottom here. Let's check it. This is the name of the record that we just created. Okay, and it's going to point to another record, which is the load balancer. Okay, so when I pick this or copy that, come in here and then paste it here, it's more friendly. Okay, dev.delink.com compared to what we had here. Okay, this got some numbers in it. It's harder to remember, and that is the idea of what we call the DNS record. Yeah, more friendly name. Happy days. So we managed to do one bit. The other bit is to secure the site. How do we do it? We need to leverage on another service called ACM. Okay, so go back to here and let's look for ACM. Go back to my AWS and look for ACM Certificate Manager. Yeah, AWS Certificate Manager. what it's going to do, it helps in the provision, managing, and deploying of what we call TLS SSL certificate. And that's why I'll show you want to secure the connection from our client to our application. So we are interested in that. Let me open this in a new tab here. Open it, and I'm going to create a certificate. Okay, give it a minute. So what we are interested in, if I have any other certificate, you see it being here. I can request for one. Okay, you can import a certificate, but what we here to do is to request a public certificate. So you can click on that one or go to request. Okay, certificate, and we are requesting for public certificate. We go next on that. Okay, so the fully qualified domain name. Okay, what domain name do you want to use? Again, if you go back to your Route 53, we can decide to use this domain name. Okay, this domain name, or you can use your main domain name that I have here, the area code, but we are interested in this one. Okay, let's pick that one. That's the fully qualified domain name. Okay, and then I'll put it here. Okay, fully qualified domain name. All right, let's move down. Okay, leave the way everything is. Keep this one as a DNS. Okay, validation. If you have your Route 53 and you created a, you manage it, okay, you can manage this certificate. Okay, you can validate it using the DNS. However, you can use email, but I think the DNS validation is more quick and it's recommended. So let's stick to that. So the algorithms, let's keep it to be RSA 2048. Okay, we happy with that. We're not putting any tags to this, so we're happy to request. Okay, the request is gone in, but as you can see, it's pending. Okay, so now if you go back to our list of certificate, we got this certificate, but it's still pending. Okay, still pending. Right, so let's click back into it. Okay, same as viewing it here. Let's cancel it. So click back in here, and you can see it's pending. So what do you need to do when it's pending? You need to validate it. So it's waiting for it to be validated. So you need to create what we call a CNAME record. Okay, record type CNAME with a value. Okay, actually this is the name of the CNAME with a value of this. Okay, CNAME, that's the name, and then this is the value. Or you can just create record because it's linked to the Route 53. You can just click on this and create record. Okay, but let's create it. Let's add extra layer of difficulty. Let's make it our own. Let's create it ourselves and see how everything works. Yeah, so I will copy this. This is the name. Remember CNAME, the type is CNAME. I'll copy the CNAME. I'll go back to my Route 53, which I open in a different tab here. Okay, I will create, okay, what we call the CNAME. So here, let's select CNAME. Remember, that's the name, that's the type, and I'm going to paste the CNAME here. Okay, now you can see I've got dev.delink.com. Okay, is the same one here. So what we need to do is to remove, okay, that fully qualified domain that we provision. So I'm going to clear that all the way, okay, to here where we have up to this point. Okay, up to that point. So we have the dev. Yeah, once we're done, the value of it, what is the value? So go back to the ACM. Again, this is what we copied as the name. All we are interested is that one. Okay, the value of the CNAME in the certificate. So come back here, and then we're going to place it here. Nice and easy. Paste it here, leave the way it is. Okay, and then we are going to create. Okay, so create. Okay, go back to the certificate. Okay, now let's try and refresh this. Okay, let me refresh it here. Let's refresh it here. see what is going on. Okay, still pending. Let's give it a few minutes. Go to list of certificates. Still pending. Let's refresh that. Give it a few minutes. See what is here. Okay, go back to ACM. Still pending. Have a look. Okay, we just took a pause for this to provision. So now, as you can see, the certificate has been issued. Okay, again, if you go back into the certificate, can you see the status is issued? Okay, and then the status is successful on here. Okay, you go back to the Route 53. So we have the, let's go back to the record. Okay, we had this record. Okay, and that is the record that we created. Okay, everything seems to be working all right. Let's have a look on here. Okay, nothing here. We got our record. That's fine. Okay, so now we've created our certificate. Okay, and it's been validated. We're happy so far. How do we use this? Okay, so what we need to do is to go back to our load balancer, set up a rule. Okay, and then on the rule, we're going to make sure that our client or our application is going to listen on port 443, and we can also do what we call redirection on the port 80. Okay, so let's go back to our load balancer. Go back here. I have it here. Okay, this is the load balancer. On the listener, let's open that properly. So here in the listener, so for now it was listening on 80. Okay, we can ensure that this application also listens on port 443, which is HTTPS. So we can add a listener. Okay, and then what we need to do is to add HTTPS, more secure. The port will automatically be selected for you. Okay, so we leave the way everything is. Okay, forward to the target group. The target group we created, we select the target group. Okay, that is the EC2 instance. Leave the way everything is. The certificate, okay, we got this certificate policy name automatically chosen, recommended. Okay, and here this is where you select your ACM. Okay, the certificate that we created and validated. Okay, it will populate here. You select that one. Okay, pick that, and the rest you leave the way everything is. You add. Okay, right. Remember, it's gonna listen on port 443, but we used to have it on port 80. Right, so you can either reach out to application from port 80 or port 443. But if you are coming to our side with port 80, it will say on the site is not secure. Okay, as we had on here. Okay, that wasn't secure. This is not secure. The reason being we don't have HTTP at the front. Okay, so if I add HTTPS, so this is HTTPS. If you're not too sure, let me copy this quickly and then show you what I mean. So copy that, come back here. Let's go back here. Let me make this a bit bigger. Okay, come here and then let me open, remove that. Let me paste this here. Okay, so this is HTTP. Okay, I'm going to drop it down and add S at the end, HTTPS. Okay, so this is the same one. Okay, and I'm going to add HTTPS at the end. HTTP HTTPS, okay, /colon. Let me remove that actually. Let me cancel that. Let me go back to where we were, make it a bit much easier. Okay. All I need to do, okay, we got this one, but I'm going to open a new tab here. Okay. And then let me paste it here. Okay. But this time I'm gonna add S at the end. So make it more secure. Okay. So let's go for this. Okay. Can you see this got a padlock on that? Yeah. That lock is telling you we got certificate attached. But the other one, this one, we don't have. That is not secure. So see the two, secure, not secure. So this is port 80, this is port 443. Okay, so whichever way you are coming in, you'll be able to reach out, but this is not secure. Therefore we can redirect the port 80, okay, to 443. Even though you have both port open, when somebody trying to reach out without adding the HTTPS, it will be redirected to HTTPS. Okay, that's what we're going to do now. Okay, so go back to our, not here, let's go back to our load balancer, and then we're going to create another listener. Okay, so create a listener. Actually, let's leave this one, let's go back to where it was and then edit this one. Okay, let's edit this. So come back here, pick that one, and what we need to do is go back in here. Okay, that is the rule. Pick the rule, and then let's see if we can edit the rule here. It's easier here. So you are listening on that, but we are going to redirect. So instead of forwarding, we are redirecting it to port 443. So HTTPS, or you can add the full URL of the secure one. This one, you can add the full URL. You can copy that. Okay, this one, and then you paste it here. You can do that. Yeah, but let's leave it and use the URI here. So HTTPS port 443. Okay, and then this is redirection. So 301 permanent moved. Okay, permanently move this site to HTTPS. So once we are happy, we're gonna save that. Okay, everything is cooking on the gas. So when we go back to that one, so both of them should now be secure. Let's refresh that. Let's leave it a bit. It's gonna see straight away it's got redirected. Yeah, now both of them are secure. You can have a look at the certificate, and it's been issued by what we call AWS, okay, Amazon RSA 2048. Okay, and this is tells you, right, Amazon certificate, right? So in a nutshell, this is how you can secure your site. I hope you learned something out of it. Okay, if you want to know more about how I provision the EC2 instance with the load balancer and target, I have a separate video which I will also share with you. Okay, so please subscribe, comment any video you would like me to do. Let me know in the comment section. Subscribe them, like them, and then share with your friends. Okay, I hope this helped. I will say happy learning. See you in the next video, and make sure your sites are all secure. All right, bye bye.